Media fact-checker. Climate change threatens Australia's superb fairy-wren with extinction within decades. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The superb fairy-wren was voted Australia's favourite bird in 2013 and 2021 Guardian BirdLife Australia polls. Researchers predict the superb fairy-wren population at Canberra's Australian National Botanic Gardens could go extinct within 30 to 40 years under intermediate and very high carbon emission scenarios, 2059 to 2062. The study found population extinction is likely to happen very fast within 30 to 40 years in intermediate and very high emission scenarios. The superb fairy-wren suffered low breeding success during dry springs and reduced adult survival following unusually warm winters and hot summers. Researchers used nearly 30 years of weekly observations of superb fairy-wrens in Canberra's Botanic Gardens for the study. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian mentions the study was conducted with Hainan University in China, but ABC does not reference this collaboration. The Guardian states the study was published in an unspecified journal, while ABC explicitly names Nature as the publication. ABC reports a 70% mortality rate in Mount Ainsley's superb fairy-wrens, 2025 winter, but The Guardian does not mention this specific figure or location. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Stephen Colbert to co-write a new Lord of the Rings film after leaving The Late Show. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Stephen Colbert will co-write a new Lord of the Rings film titled The Lord of the Rings, Shadow of the Past. The film will be produced by Peter Jackson, Philippe Arboyens, and Fran Walsh. Colbert's script will follow Sam, Merry, and Pippin retracing early steps of their original adventure, with Sam's daughter Eleanor discovering a long-buried secret about the War of the Ring. The film is the second upcoming Lord of the Rings project after The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, directed by Andy Serkis and set for December 17, 2027. Colbert's involvement was announced via a video on social media featuring Peter Jackson. But not all outlets told the same story. Guardian 1 states Colbert's son is named Peter Colbert, while ABC states his son is named Peter McGee. Guardian 2 humorously questions the April Fool's Day timing of the announcement as a potential prank, while Guardian 1 and ABC treat it as a legitimate announcement. Guardian 2 references the $16 million settlement with Trump as a factor in Colbert's show cancellation, but ABC does not mention this political context. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. RBA bans credit debit card surcharges and caps interchange fees in Australia. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The RBA will ban surcharges on credit and debit card payments from October 1, 2026, covering MasterCard, Visa, and EFTPOS cards, not American Express. Consumers will save approximately $1.6 billion annually from the removal of surcharges, according to the RBA. Businesses will save about $200 million annually from reduced surcharge fees, with an additional $910 million saved from lowered interchange fee caps. The interchange fee cap for domestic-issued consumer credit cards will be reduced from 0.8% to 0.3%, and for debit cards from 0.2% to 0.16%. The RBA consulted for 18 months, receiving over 250 written submissions and holding 150 stakeholder meetings before announcing the reforms. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC both suggest businesses will likely increase prices to offset lost surcharge revenue, but the RBA states that 84% of businesses do not currently surcharge and will benefit from lower upstream costs. The Guardian and Independent Payments Forum, via ABC, argue that small businesses will be forced to raise prices for all customers, including cash users, while the RBA claims the reforms will help businesses get better value from payment services. The Guardian reports that banks may hike credit card fees or interest rates as an unintended consequence, but the RBA does not explicitly mention this in its consensus statements. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, SBS News, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. German TV star Collien Fernandes AI porn allegations against ex-husband Christian Ulmen spark national debate on digital violence laws. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Collien Fernandes accused Christian Ulmen of creating and distributing AI-generated deepfake pornographic images of her via fake social media accounts. Fernandes filed a legal complaint against Ulmen in Spain in 2025, citing stronger legal protections for gender-based violence there. The German government's Justice Minister Stefanie Hübig announced plans to criminalize production distribution of non-consensual deepfake porn with up to 2 years in prison. Fernandes told Der Spiegel she discovered hundreds of fake pornographic images of her circulating online, later attributing them to Ulmen. Protests in multiple German cities demanded stronger laws against digital violence, including over 10,000 protesters at Berlin's Brandenburg Gate. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Ulmen's lawyer accused Der Spiegel of spreading fake facts based on Fernandes' claims, while Article 2 does not mention this direct accusation. Article 1 describes Ulmen's lawyer as saying the dispute was unrelated to the broader digital violence debate, but Article 2 focuses on the systemic nature of the case. Article 1 explicitly calls the images AI-generated deepfakes, while Article 2 clarifies Fernandes' allegations are primarily about identity abuse, not AI deepfakes. This story was covered by The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australian private health insurance premium hikes and cost of living impact. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Private health insurance premiums in Australia will rise by an industry average of 4.41% from April 1, 2026, marking the largest increase in nearly a decade. For-profit insurers like AIA Health Insurance, 5.98%, NIB, 5.47%, Medibank, 5.1%, and Bupa, 4.8%, are leading the increases, while not-for-profit funds such as GMHBA are raising rates by 1.98%. Gold-tier hospital cover premiums will increase by an average of 13.3%, with HCF's Hospital Optimal Gold cover rising by 25%, adding roughly $167 per year for singles and $330 per year for families. Insurers attribute the hikes to rising hospital wages, more expensive medical technology, an aging population, and increased demand for mental health and chronic disease services post-pandemic. The Reserve Bank of Australia's cash rate is at 4.1% as of March 2026, contributing to elevated mortgage repayments and broader cost of living pressures. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. This story was covered by news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Donald Trump criticizes Australia and allies over Iran war support and Strait of Hormuz security. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump described Australia as not great and said he was a little surprised by its lack of support in the US-Israel war against Iran during a White House press conference on April 11, 2024. Trump criticized UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer for offering to send aircraft carriers when the war is over, and called them toys compared to US carriers. Australia has provided defensive support to the UAE, including a surveillance aircraft and missiles, as reported by both The Guardian and ABC. Trump stated Iran was begging to make a deal and claimed the US had sent a 15-point ceasefire proposal to Iran, according to ABC and news.com.au. Defense Minister Richard Marles stated Australia had not rejected any US requests but would respond based on national interest, as reported by The Guardian and ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC report Australia provided defensive support to the UAE, but news.com.au does not specify this detail beyond offering to contribute to efforts to protect the Strait of Hormuz. ABC claims Iran has not confirmed the offer of 8 boats of oil, while Trump directly stated Iran made this offer as a gesture of goodwill. The Guardian and ABC report Trump called UK aircraft carriers toys, but news.com.au does not include this specific comparison. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australian TGA proposes sunscreen regulation reforms after SPF testing controversies. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Therapeutic Goods Administration, TGA, proposed reforms to Australian sunscreen regulations in response to choice testing findings that 16 out of 20 popular SPF 50 plus sunscreens failed to meet advertised SPF claims, Newscamau, ABC twice. Choice tested 20 SPF 50 plus sunscreens in June 2023 and found 16 delivered lower SPF than labelled, with results ranging from SPF 4 to SPF 43, Newscamau, ABC twice. Ultraviolet's Australian sunscreen Lean Screen 50 Plus tested at SPF 4, while Kohl's SPF 50 Plus sunscreen UltraTube tested at SPF 43, Newscamau, ABC. Banana Boat Baby Zinc Sunscreen Lotion SPF 50 Plus tested at SPF 28, Newscamau, ABC. Australia has the highest rates of skin cancer and melanoma globally, with around 2,000 deaths annually, Newscamau, ABC twice. But not all outlets told the same story. Newscamau states the TGA revealed in a report that SPF testing data from certain laboratories appeared unreliable, while ABC does not mention this specific finding in its articles. Newscamau highlights Ultraviolet's Instagram post about testing costs, but ABC does not reference this specific social media statement. Newscamau includes the TGA's statement that some product owners and manufacturers lacked an understanding about their legal obligations, which is not mentioned in ABC articles. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. South Australia wins back-to-back Sheffield Shield titles by defeating Victoria in a dramatic final. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. South Australia won the Sheffield Shield final against Victoria at Junction Oval, Melbourne, securing back-to-back titles for the first time. Victoria finished the regular season on top of the ladder with 7 wins from 10 matches. South Australia needed 196 runs to win on day 5 and were bowled out for 139, winning by 56 runs. Alex Carey took a sharp diving catch to dismiss Oliver Peak on day 5, a critical moment in the match. Nathan McAndrew took 6 wickets in the match, including a second innings 60 and a key 8th wicket partnership of 105 with Carey. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian mentions Liam Scott's delivery to Oliver Peak was a front-foot no-ball according to side-on TV footage, but ABC does not address this controversy at all. The Guardian states Victoria lost their last 5 wickets for just 27 runs in the first innings, while ABC does not provide this specific detail. The Guardian highlights South Australia's second innings partnership of 105 runs between Nathan McAndrew and Alex Carey, but ABC does not mention this partnership specifically. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. California sheriffs disputed voter fraud investigation and ballot seizures during Prop 50 election. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Chad Bianco, Riverside County Sheriff and Republican gubernatorial candidate, halted an investigation into alleged voter fraud in the November 2023 Prop 50 election after politically motivated lawsuits and court filings. Bianco seized over 650,000 ballots from the Prop 50 election in January 2024, defying objections from state officials including Rob Bonta, California Attorney General, and Shirley Weber, Secretary of State. The Riverside Election Integrity Team claimed a discrepancy of 45,896 votes between official tallies and handwritten records, while state officials confirmed the actual difference was only 103 votes. Rob Bonta filed a petition with the California Supreme Court on January 26, 2024, arguing Bianco lacked legal authority to seize ballots, calling it an unprecedented constitutional emergency. Bonta's office accused Bianco of obtaining facial insufficient evidence for search warrants and violating directives to pause the investigation, leading to a lawsuit filed by the UCLA Voting Rights Project. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Bianco halted the inquiry due to politically motivated lawsuits and court filings, while Article 2 does not explicitly mention this as the primary reason for halting, focusing instead on ongoing seizures and legal challenges. Article 1 attributes the discrepancy claim to a difference of 45,896 votes between official and handwritten tallies without specifying the source's methodology, while Article 2 does not repeat this exact number verbatim but confirms the state's 103-vote discrepancy. Article 2 claims Bonta's lawsuit accused Bianco of abusing the criminal process and willfully violating directives, while Article 1 does not use these exact phrases but references a broader unprecedented constitutional emergency framing. This story was covered by The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australian political reaction to US-Iran war and economic fallout on energy supplies. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Andrew Hastie, Liberal MP, criticized US President Donald Trump's huge miscalculation in the Iran war as of early March 2024. Iran has blockaded the Strait of Hormuz, impacting global fuel supply chains and Australian energy exports. Andrew Hastie stated Australia is dependent on the export of fuel in and out of the Middle East due to its location. The Australian government announced it would underwrite additional fuel cargo deliveries to address supply shortages, March 2024. Andrew Hastie served as a Special Forces veteran and fought in the Middle East alongside US forces. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reported the government was in discussions with suppliers to source additional fuel, while Newscomau did not mention this specific detail. ABC stated Employment Minister Amanda Rishworth said, "We are not at the stage yet where we are suggesting people should work from home because of the fuel shortages," but Newscomau did not reference this. ABC mentioned Hastie may be open to the levy on gas profits, while Newscomau did not discuss this potential policy shift. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Norwegian royal family scandal involving Crown Princess Mette-Marit and her son Marius Borg Høiby's criminal trial. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Crown Princess Mette-Marit's emails with Jeffrey Epstein were released by the US Department of Justice 7 weeks ago, revealing chatty exchanges including interior design jokes and references to Epstein's past convictions. Mette-Marit apologized for her friendship with Epstein in a February 2025 interview with Norway's public broadcaster, stating she was manipulated and deceived and ended contact in 2014. Marius Borg Høiby, 29, is on trial for rape and physical abuse against 4 women, charges spanning 2018 to 2024, with prosecutors seeking a 7-year prison sentence, verdict expected by June 2025. Høiby denies the rape charges but admitted to drug use and violence. Police found videos on his phone showing women from the waist down, some allegedly incapacitated or asleep during sex. Mette-Marit's son is not in the line of succession but grew up with royal privileges, including access to the family's official residence outside Oslo. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Romanian nationals charged for stealing wallets from elderly Queensland shoppers via scam. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 3 Romanian nationals, 2 men aged 49 and 42, 1 woman aged 29, were arrested in 8 Mile Plains on the 28th of March, 2024 for allegedly targeting elderly victims, ages 70 to 94, at Queensland shopping centres. Victims were distracted by claims of dropped wallets while their cards were stolen for fraudulent use at ATMs or grocery payments in Kenmore, Chermside, Strathpeen, North Lakes, Buddina, Caloundra, and Laidley. Police seized approximately $20,000 from a unit complex in 8 Mile Plains during the arrests. The 49-year-old man and 29-year-old woman were charged with multiple counts of fraud and stealing, 5 counts of fraud, 8 counts of fraud respectively, and refused bail, while the 42-year-old man was charged with 1 count of stealing and bailed. Investigations continue with possible links to NSW and Victoria, and further arrests are expected. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states the 49-year-old man was charged with 4 counts of stealing, while Newscomau does not specify the exact number of stealing charges for him. ABC mentions the 29-year-old woman was charged with 4 counts of stealing, but Newscomau does not detail the number of stealing charges for her. ABC specifies the 42-year-old man was charged with 1 count of stealing and bailed to Southport Magistrates Court on the 8th of April, while Newscomau only states he was bailed to face Southport Court in early April without a specific date. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Travel expenses and affordability of Albania compared to other European destinations. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Albania is described as Europe's most affordable destination for summer travel by both sources. The writer spent a week in Albania during late northern summer with exchange rates of $1 equals 55 cents and 54 Albanian lek, later updated to 60 cents and 57 lek. The writer visited Albania with a friend named Johnny, who collected her from Tirana Airport in a hired car. The Tirana Marriott Hotel is centrally located within a football field in downtown Tirana, with rooms priced at €140 per night. Budget airlines Wizz Air and Ryanair offer flights to Tirana from major European airports. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two articles as they are nearly identical in content. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Zac Lomax's rugby union debut with Western Force against Queensland Reds at Lang Park. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Zac Lomax will make his Super Rugby Pacific debut this weekend, Saturday, for the Western Force against the Queensland Reds at Brisbane's Lang Park, kick-off at 7:35 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Lomax is named on the bench for the Western Force in their Round 8 clash against the Queensland Reds. Lomax is a 26-year-old former NRL star who played for the Parramatta Eels and NSW in State of Origin. Lomax scored 2 tries for NSW in the 2025 State of Origin opener, 18-6 win over Queensland Maroons, and 3 crucial goals in the 2024 decider at Lang Park. Lomax's most recent match at Lang Park was in July 2024, where he scored 2 tries as the underdog Eels upset eventual NRL premiers Brisbane. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. This story was covered by ABC News. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Air Canada CEO Michael Rousseau resigns amid criticism over English-only condolence video after fatal crash. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 2 pilots were killed in a collision between an Air Canada Express flight, Flight 8646, and a fire truck at New York's LaGuardia Airport on March 22, 2024, at night. The pilots killed were Antoine Forrest, 30, from Coteau-du-Lac, Quebec, and Mackenzie Gunther, 2023 Seneca Polytechnic graduate, Toronto. Air Canada CEO Michael Rousseau released an English-only condolence video with only 2 French words, bonjour and merci, and French subtitles after the crash. Rousseau does not speak French fluently, despite pledging to learn it upon taking the CEO role in 2021, and previously addressed a Montreal audience in English. Canada's Office of the Commissioner of Official Languages received nearly 800 complaints about the video, far exceeding the usual annual average of 100. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC both report Rousseau's retirement is due to the English-only video controversy, but The Guardian emphasizes political pressure from Quebec while ABC focuses on the airline's internal decision. The Guardian states Rousseau addressed the Montreal Chamber of Commerce in English in 2021, prompting protests, while ABC does not mention this specific incident. Newscomer reports Foreign Minister Anita Anand explicitly called for bilingual leaders in the corporate sector during a G7 meeting, but The Guardian and ABC do not mention this context. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Massive anti-Trump protests across US states including West Virginia's Charlestown. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Over 3,200 coordinated No Kings protests occurred across all 50 US states on Saturday. Donald Trump won West Virginia in 2016, 2020, and 2024, including Jefferson County, Charlestown, and Berkeley County, Martinsburg. A Reuters Ipsos poll showed Trump's approval rating at 36%, with 62% disapproving of his performance. Protests took place outside the historic Jefferson County Courthouse in Charlestown, West Virginia. Jason Butler, a 40-year-old Trump supporter, wore a red Make America Great Again cap and a king's crown while playing Trump anthems from his iPhone. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Teenage assault on paramedic after stolen car crash in Melbourne. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 4 teenage males were travelling in a stolen Mazda 3 that collided with a Volkswagen Jetta at Nicholson St and Victoria Parade, Carlton, just before 6 a.m. on Saturday. 2 teenagers fled the scene immediately after the crash. A 19-year-old male and a 15-year-old male were injured in the crash, with the 19-year-old suffering serious injuries. A 66-year-old man and 76-year-old woman from Terang were passengers in the Volkswagen and were taken to hospital as a precaution. The Mazda 3 was stolen from Mulgrave on March 21. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states 2 teenagers are in police custody while Newscomer does not mention any teens in custody. ABC specifies the 19-year-old was seriously injured and the 15-year-old had minor injuries, but Newscomer does not detail injury severity. ABC mentions the paramedic was injured while the 15-year-old was being transported to hospital, but Newscomer does not specify the timing of the assault. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. South Australian police raid reveals $320,000 stolen Lego haul and arrests. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Police seized $320,000 worth of allegedly stolen Lego in Adelaide on May 2, 2024. The haul filled 15 pallets and required 2 mounted police horse floats for transport. A 34-year-old woman and a 42-year-old man were arrested at a Dudley Park home and charged with theft. Both suspects were bailed and are due to appear in Port Adelaide Magistrates Court on May 12. The Lego was allegedly stolen from multiple retail outlets across Adelaide's metropolitan area. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Queensland rail workers' industrial action disrupting passenger services amid bargaining dispute. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Queensland Rail confirmed no trains were running between Darra and Rosewood, Ipswich Rosewood line, on April 1st due to industrial action. No trains were operating between Central and Cleveland Line, on April 1st due to industrial action. Rail replacement buses were deployed across the Ipswich-Rosewood and Cleveland corridors during the strike. The Rail, Tram and Bus Union, RTBU, took a 24-hour strike starting at 12 a.m. on April 1st, involving train control staff. Queensland Rail and RTBU have been in enterprise bargaining negotiations since January 2024, covering about 5,600 rail workers. But not all outlets told the same story. Newscomau reports Queensland Rail said members would not be paid if they were not performing full duties, but ABC states Queensland Rail denied telling workers not to attend work. Newscomau claims RTBU estimated about 200 train control staff would take part in the strike, while ABC does not mention this specific number. Newscomau states Cat Stapleton said unions had made more than 500 claims, but ABC does not provide this specific detail. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. TT Line ferry price surcharge due to fuel cost increases. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. TT Line announced a 15% fuel surcharge on new Spirit of Tasmania ferry tickets effective immediately, both sources. The surcharge applies to passengers travelling between Victoria and Tasmania, both sources. TT Line chairman Ken Konofsky stated fuel prices increased by 80%, both sources. The company projects $50 million in additional costs due to fuel price hikes, both sources. Existing bookings are not affected by the surcharge, both sources. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC mentions the surcharge could remain at some level even after fuel prices drop, but Newscom Australia does not explicitly state this possibility. ABC reports the surcharge could cost a family of two with a caravan up to $228 extra, while Newscom Australia states the same booking costs $228 each way, no directionality specified. ABC highlights TT Line's insolvency declaration by Tasmania's Auditor General last year, but Newscom Australia does not mention this detail. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Nicolas Maduro's U.S. court appearance for narco-terrorism charges after his January 2024 arrest. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nicolas Maduro and his wife Cilia Flores were captured by U.S. Special Forces in Caracas on the 3rd of January, 2024 during a pre-dawn raid. Maduro and Flores face a narco-terrorism indictment in Manhattan Federal Court, with potential life imprisonment if convicted. Maduro and Flores pleaded not guilty at their 5th of January arraignment in New York. Prosecutors allege Maduro's government leveraged power to protect and promote illegal activity, including drug trafficking. Maduro and Flores are detained in a Brooklyn jail cell and have not been released on bail. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian, Article 1, states Maduro's arrest followed U.S. attacks on narco boats that resulted in over 100 deaths, while ABC does not specify a death toll for these attacks. The Guardian, Article 2, claims OFAC's initial waiver was an administrative error and later reversed it, but ABC does not mention this error explanation. The Guardian, Article 1, notes Maduro appeared at ease with a smile and handshakes, while ABC describes him as jailed at a detention center in Brooklyn without emotional detail. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Arrests and charges in Sydney grandfather's mistaken identity kidnapping and murder case. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Declan James Donnelly, 23, was arrested on March 20 at his Seven Hills home and charged with the kidnapping and murder of Chris Bagsarian, a 85-year-old grandfather mistakenly abducted from his North Ryde home on February 13. Donnelly was captured on CCTV at Bagsherian's North Ryde residence at the time of the kidnapping and later near an abandoned Dural home where Bagsherian was allegedly tortured and killed. Gerard Andrews, 29, and Daniel Stevens, 24, were charged in February with Bagsherian's kidnapping and murder and remain in custody. Police seized and sawn-off shotgun, ammunition, and prohibited drugs, including heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, and cannabis, at Donnelly's Seven Hills home. Donnelly was charged with possessing an unauthorized firearm and ammunition, and drug supply offenses, and was refused bail to appear in Blacktown local court on March 21. But not all outlets told the same story. SMH states Donnelly updated his Facebook profile picture on February 16, while News Kamau does not mention this detail. News Kamau says Donnelly allegedly murdered Bagsherian between February 13 morning and 9 p.m. on February 14, but SMH does not specify this exact timeline. SMH reports Donnelly was arrested on Wednesday morning, March 20, and charged with possessing an unauthorized firearm and ammunition, while News Kamau does not mention the unauthorized firearm charge explicitly. This story was covered by ABC News, news.com.au, and Sydney Morning Herald. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Missing child case, Gus Lamont's 6-month disappearance from South Australian Outback Station. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Gus Lamont, a 4-year-old with golden curls, was last seen on September 27, 2025, at Oak Park Station near Yunta, South Australia. Gus was reported missing at approximately 8:30 p.m. after his grandmother searched for him for 3 hours without finding him. The search involved multiple agencies including aerial, water, trail bike and mounted police, SES, defense personnel, community volunteers, and a tracker across 60,000 hectares. Police ruled out Gus wandering off or being abducted by February 2026, declaring his disappearance a major crime. Task Force Horizon, a 12-member specialist team, was formed in October 2025 to investigate the case. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states police ruled out abduction due to the property's remote location and lack of obvious access, while News Kamau does not explicitly mention this reasoning. ABC reports a suspect has been identified among station residents who has withdrawn cooperation, but News Kamau does not confirm this detail. ABC mentions the seizure of a car and electronic devices from the suspect's location, which is not referenced in News Kamau. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Drug-affected driver sues Commonwealth after hitting schoolboys, sentenced to 13 years jail. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Taylor Hazel, 32, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of culpable driving causing grievous bodily harm to 2 schoolboys, aged 14 and 15, outside St Edmunds College, Canberra, on March 28, 2023. Hazel was driving a stolen green Commodore, NSW registered, from a Sutton childcare centre and had an 8-year-old girl inside before letting her out. Hazel crashed the stolen car outside St Christopher's Cathedral in Manuka after hitting the boys, then was arrested by AFP officers. Bodycam footage shows Hazel handcuffed and later forcibly slammed to the ground by AFP Tactical Response Team officers, with one officer grabbing his neck. An AFP investigation found the officers' conduct breached professional standards, and prosecutors accepted the force used was unlawful. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the 2 sources. This story was covered by ABC News. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. AFL player Tristan Xerri banned for wiping blood on opponent's face during match. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Tristan Xerri was banned for 3 games for serious misconduct after wiping blood from his nose onto Essendon captain Andrew McGrath's face during a match on the 29th of March, 2025, Saturday night. Xerri pleaded guilty to the charge at the AFL tribunal on the 31st of March, 2025, Monday, with the tribunal chair Jeff Gleeson KC calling the act disgraceful behavior and noting Xerri's hand was close to McGrath's open mouth. Xerri admitted in evidence that he knew there was blood on his hand before wiping it on McGrath's face, despite this not being clear in video footage. The incident occurred after Xerri complained to an umpire about a blooded nose, kicked a goal, and physically clashed with McGrath before wiping blood on his face. Xerri's suspension means he will miss North Melbourne's next 3 games against Carlton, Brisbane, and Richmond. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC both report Xerri admitted blood was on his hand before wiping it on McGrath's face, but only the ABC specifies he wanted to extract blood to show them that I was bleeding to prove he wasn't flopping. The Guardian states Xerri made no attempt whatsoever to minimize the incident, while The Age mentions Xerri gave away a 100-meter penalty for remonstrating with the umpire before the incident, which could imply some provocation. The Guardian and ABC both report Xerri apologized to McGrath, but only the ABC includes the detail that McGrath took it very well and they had a good conversation afterward. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australian political polling shows Labor's declining support amid fuel crisis and Middle East war. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Anthony Albanese's Labour government primary vote dropped to 31% in 2 recent polls, Newspoll and Redbridge, down from 36% in November 2023 and 34.6% at the May 2024 federal election. One Nation's primary vote was 26% in Newspoll and 29% in Redbridge, higher than the coalition's 21%, Newspoll, and 17%, Redbridge. 72% of voters disapproved of US military action against Iran in both Newspoll and Redbridge polls. Anthony Albanese's net approval rating was -17 in Redbridge and 57% dissatisfied with his performance in Newspoll. The petrol crisis was primarily blamed on the Iran war, 61% in Redbridge, with 14% blaming the government. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 reports One Nation's primary vote dropped to 26% in Newspoll, while Article 2 states One Nation's support slipped slightly without specifying the exact percentage. Article 1 states the coalition's primary vote was 21% in Newspoll, but Article 2 does not provide a direct comparison to prior polls for the coalition's exact percentage. Article 1 claims the coalition's primary vote was a record low of 17% in Redbridge, but Article 2 does not mention this specific figure. This story was covered by news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Victorian Liberal pre-selection crisis over Moira Deeming's removal and Dinesh Gourisetty's disqualification. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Moira Deeming lost Liberal pre-selection for the Western Metropolitan Region Upper House seat on the 25th of August, 2024, losing to Dinesh Gourisetty, 39 votes, and Trung Law, 3 votes, with Deeming receiving 26 votes. Dinesh Gourisetty provided a character reference for Kashyap Patel, who pleaded guilty in 2024 to grooming, sexually assaulting, and transmitting indecent communication to a child under 16, County Court, 2024. Patel was sentenced to 9 months imprisonment and a 2-year community correction order in 2024 after pleading guilty to charges related to a 15-year-old victim in 2021. Victorian Liberal leader Jess Wilson stated on the 26th of August, 2024 that Gourisetty is not welcome on her team after the character reference revelation. The Victorian Liberal Party executive resolved on the 26th of August, 2024 to hold a fresh pre-selection vote for the Western Metropolitan Region seat, excluding Gourisetty. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau and ABC report that Deeming was expelled from the Parliamentary Liberal Party in 2023, but Theej states she was expelled in 2023 after threatening defamation action against Pasutto, consistent across sources, but Theej clarifies the timeline more precisely. ABC and Guardian report that Gourisetty's character reference was revealed after the pre-selection vote, but Newscomau states the reference emerged after pre-selection. It was revealed without specifying timing relative to the vote. Guardian reports that the party's president Philip Davis wrote to members at 11:10 p.m. on the 26th of August, 2024 about the rerun pre-selection, while Theage does not specify the exact time but confirms the resolution was made on the 26th of August. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australian court hearing on extradition of ex-Pinochet agent Adriana Rivas for torture charges. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Adriana Rivas is a Bondi nanny accused of participating in the kidnapping and torture of 7 people during Augusto Pinochet's dictatorship in Chile in the 1970s. Rivas fled Chile in 2011 while on bail for aggravated kidnapping charges and arrived in Australia in 2011. Chile formally requested Rivas' extradition in 2014, and she has been in detention in Australia since 2019 awaiting removal. A 2-day federal court hearing in New South Wales began on, date implied as recent, to consider her final appeal against extradition. Justice Michael Lee is presiding over the hearing in the New South Wales Federal Court. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports previously unreported emails show an Australian consular official may have aided Rivas' escape, but DFAT denies any record of such assistance. ABC cites Rivas' 2012 emails to the Housing Minister describing consular help, while SBS and ABC do not mention these emails in their headlines or core reporting. ABC states Rivas was arrested in Chile in 2007 on aggravated kidnapping charges, but SBS does not specify the year of her arrest in Chile. This story was covered by ABC News and SBS News. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. F1 safety crisis after Oliver Bearman's high-speed crash at Japanese GP. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Oliver Bearman crashed at the 2024 Japanese Grand Prix after evading Franco Colapinto's Alpine due to a closing speed of 50 km per hour, or 50 g impact force. Bearman's Haas was traveling at 190 miles per hour, 307 km per hour when he went off track at Suzuka's Spoon Curve, turn 13. Bearman escaped with only bruising, while his car suffered extensive damage and was sent into the barriers. The crash occurred because Bearman was using boost mode while Colapinto's Alpine was recovering energy, creating a significant speed differential. Kimi Antonelli won the Japanese Grand Prix, becoming the youngest driver to lead the F1 championship, 19 years old. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC describes Bearman's impact as 50 g, while The Guardian, Article 1, also states 50 g but Article 3, Richards, does not specify a g-force number, only describing it as a huge accident and 50 km/h closing speed, no direct contradiction, but ABC The Guardian 1 are explicit on 50 g. ABC mentions Bearman's speed as 190 miles per hour, 307 km per hour when he went off track, while The Guardian, Article 1, also states 190 miles per hour, 307 km per hour, no contradiction here, but Article 3, Richards, does not repeat the exact miles per hour figure, only km/h, 307 km per hour. The Guardian, Article 1, quotes Haas principal Ayo Komatsu as saying he just had a huge closing speed against Colapinto, while ABC's Komatsu quote is, he had to take avoiding action, and he went on the grass and crashed, so yeah, scary. Both agree on the severity but differ slightly in phrasing. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australian government's temporary fuel excise cut and national fuel crisis response. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The federal government halved the fuel excise from 52.6 cents to 26.3 cents per litre of petrol and diesel, effective April 1, 2024, for 3 months until June 30, 2024. The excise cut is expected to save motorists approximately 26.3 cents per litre, with a 65-litre tank saving around $19, assuming full pass-through to consumers. The heavy vehicle road user charge was temporarily reduced to zero for 3 months, costing the government an additional $53 million in lost revenue. The total cost of the excise cut and road user charge reduction is estimated at $2.55 billion, depending on fuel demand over the period. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, ACCC, previously found that a similar excise cut in 2022, during the Ukraine war, was largely passed on to consumers after a 6-week lag. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC both report that the excise cut will save 26.3 cents per litre, but The Guardian notes this is bound to be popular with voters, while ABC highlights economists warning it could increase inflation and pressure the RBA to raise interest rates. The Guardian states that some remote areas could take a week or two longer to see price reductions due to low fuel turnover, while ABC reports that diesel prices in Adelaide dropped by 21.3 cents almost immediately after the cut, faster than expected. The Guardian reports that farmers are skeptical of the excise cut, warning it could worsen supply shortages, while ABC does not mention farmer concerns in its coverage. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, and SBS News. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Angus Taylor's car theft and coalitions fuel excise demands amid fuel crisis. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Angus Taylor's car was stolen on March 27 from an address in Canberra's inner south. The stolen car was located later that day in Turner, a North Canberra suburb. The vehicle was taken to an ACT policing facility for forensic examination. The theft occurred just hours before Taylor was due to attend a press conference at a petrol station with Matt Canavan and Bridget McKenzie. ACT policing confirmed the theft via a statement to reporters. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau does not mention the 3-degree temperature or the shirt speculation, while SMH highlights it as a key detail. SMH implies the car theft was likely due to the empty tank, but News Kamau does not address this reason. SMH includes additional unrelated details about Gina Reinhardt's pack attendance and Joe Hockey's walk, which are absent in News Kamau. This story was covered by news.com.au and Sydney Morning Herald. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Saudi Arabia's push for US to escalate military campaign against Iran amid regional war. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, urged Donald Trump not to cut short the US-Israeli war on Iran, calling it a historic opportunity to remake the Middle East, both articles, Guardian. Saudi Arabia has not yet joined the war directly despite weighing military involvement, both articles, Guardian. Trump confirmed MBS's role in urging the US to continue the war, stating, "Yeah, he's a warrior. He's fighting with us," both articles, Guardian. Iran launched a drone attack on Saudi Arabia's Yanbu oil refinery on the Red Sea coast, both articles, Guardian. Saudi Arabia and Iran have long been regional rivals, with Saudi Arabia claiming Sunni leadership and Iran Shia leadership, both articles, Guardian. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 does not mention Saudi Arabia's 2023 detente with Iran, while Article 2 explicitly states Saudi Arabia hugged Iran close after US failure in 2019. Article 1 omits the UAE's public call for Iran's conclusive military defeat, Wall Street Journal quote in Article 2. Article 1 does not reference Saudi Arabia's potential defensive coalition support or retaliation against Houthi strikes, which Article 2 attributes to Saudi analysts. This story was covered by The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Iran's control of Strait of Hormuz shipping during US-Israel war on Iran. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Strait of Hormuz saw a 95% drop in daily traffic, from ~138 ships day pre-war to ~5-6 ships day, since February 28, 2024, per Joint Maritime Information Center and ABC Lloyd's List. Iran has established a safe corridor near Larak Island, northern Iranian waters, for vessel transit, diverting ships from the central shipping lane, as reported by Lloyd's List and ABC. More than 20 ships have been attacked or suffered near misses in the region since the conflict began, including the Palau-flagged Skylight tanker, Indian crew deaths, per Guardian and ABC. Iran's IRGC has imposed a de facto toll booth system, with at least 2 vessels reportedly paying $2 million, £1.5 million, for transit, per Guardian and ABC, Aladdin Borajerdi's quote. Iran's crude oil exports averaged 1.6 million barrels per day, March 1 to 23, per Tanker Tracker's data cited by ABC and Guardian's reference to Lloyd's List. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports 100 ships exited the Gulf and 40 entered in March, totaling ~138 ships for the month, while ABC states only ~150 ships transited March 1 to 26, including 46 tankers. The Guardian cites Lloyd's List saying no vessels have been damaged since March 22, but ABC does not provide a specific date cutoff for attacks or damages. The Guardian mentions Iran's toll payments were made in Chinese yuan due to US-EU sanctions, while ABC does not specify currency for the $2 million tolls. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker: Australia's national fuel crisis and government response to Middle East war disruptions. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is convening a second National Cabinet meeting on Monday, March 25, to coordinate a national response to the fuel crisis, with state and territory leaders attending, ABC, Thij, Newscamau, SMH, ABC. As of mid-March, 470 to 520 service stations across Australia are without at least one type of fuel, with 474 stations reported by Thij and 520 by ABC, Thij, ABC, Newscamau, ABC. The Strait of Hormuz, which supplies about 20 to 25% of the world's oil, has been disrupted by the Iran war, raising concerns about fuel supply shortages, Thij, ABC, Newscamau. The federal government has secured additional oil shipments, including 6 days' worth of average national diesel consumption and 5 days' worth of petrol from emergency reserves, Thij, ABC. Energy Minister Chris Bowen announced that 6 cancelled oil tankers bound for Australia have been replaced, with 3 additional tankers secured, Thij, ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. Thij reported 474 service stations without fuel as of Wednesday afternoon, while ABC later reported 520 stations without fuel, ABC versus Thij. Premier Chris Minns, NSW, reported 32 stations without fuel in NSW, Newscamau, but ABC reported 48 stations without at least one fuel type in NSW, ABC. Western Australia's Premier Roger Cook stated rationing would only occur in Level 4 of the plan, ABC, while NSW Premier Chris Minns indicated Level 3 could involve rationing, Newscamau. This story was covered by ABC News, news.com.au, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker: US-Iran ceasefire negotiations and escalating Middle East conflict amid indirect talks and military threats. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump claims US has offered a 15-point ceasefire plan to Iran via intermediaries, Pakistan, Egypt, Gulf nations, but Iran denies direct negotiations. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi acknowledged receiving the US proposal but insists message exchanges through mediators do not constitute negotiations. Pakistan is facilitating talks between the US and Iran, with reports of potential meetings in Islamabad, Article 1 and 2. US is deploying approximately 5,000 additional Marines and 1,000 troops from the 82nd Airborne Division to the Middle East, Article 1 and 2. Iran has blocked the Strait of Hormuz, disrupting global oil shipments, and Trump has threatened to obliterate Iran's power plants if the chokehold isn't lifted, Article 2 and 3. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Trump has consistently maintained US is in constructive talks with Iran, while Article 2 and 3 report Iran flatly denies any direct negotiations. Article 1 claims Iran has rejected the US 15-point plan outright, but Article 3's White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt insists Iran has not rejected it. Article 1 says Iran's initial response to the US plan was that it was one-sided and unfair, but Article 3 does not provide this specific detail. This story was covered by ABC News. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Israeli death penalty law for Palestinians sparks UN and international condemnation. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Israeli Knesset passed a law on March 11, 2024, allowing the death penalty for Palestinians convicted of deadly terror attacks in the occupied West Bank, with no similar penalty for Jewish extremists. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk stated the law is patently inconsistent with Israel's international law obligations and could constitute a war crime if applied in the occupied Palestinian territory. The law makes the death penalty the default punishment for Palestinians in the West Bank found guilty of intentionally carrying out deadly attacks deemed terrorism by military courts. Executions under the bill would be carried out by hanging within 90 days of sentencing, with detainees held in a separate facility with no visits except from authorized personnel. Israel's last execution was in 1962, when Nazi war criminal Adolf Eichmann was hanged. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian mentions the bill was passed on Monday, March 11th, after amendments, while ABC does not specify the exact date of passage beyond late on Monday. The Guardian states the bill was passed by the Knesset on Monday and passed its first vote last week, but ABC does not mention a timeline for the first vote. The Guardian reports the bill allows courts to impose the death penalty without a prosecutor's request, while ABC does not mention this specific procedural detail. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australian government urges Fair Work Commission for minimum wage increase above inflation. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Fair Work Commission is reviewing the minimum wage for 2025, with a decision expected to take effect from July 1, 2025. 2.7 million Australian workers earn the national minimum wage or award wages tied to it. Employment Minister Amanda Rishworth and Treasurer Jim Chalmers submitted a request for an economically sustainable real wage increase above inflation. The Australian Council of Trade Unions, ACTU, has sought a 5% minimum wage increase, while the Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, ACCI, has asked for 3.5%. February 2025 Consumer Price Index, CPI, inflation was 3.7%, headline, or 3.3%, underlying, RBA's preferred measure. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports Jim Chalmers warned Treasury's inflation projections of up to 5% could be conservative, but Newscomau does not mention this specific warning. ABC states the Fair Work Commission's 2025 determination relied on RBA's confidence that inflation would fall under 3%, but Newscomau does not reference this context. ABC highlights that minimum wage earners represent 13% of the wage bill, while Newscomau does not provide this specific statistic. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Daly Cherry-Evans returned to Manly-Warringah as a Rooster amid the club's early season struggles. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Daly Cherry-Evans made his first appearance for the Roosters against his former club Manly-Warringah Sea Eagles on the opening weekend of the 2026 NRL season. The match took place at Brookvale Oval, with heavy rain and power cuts disrupting pre-game preparations. Manly started the season with a 0-3 record, losing all 3 games at Brookvale Oval. Cherry-Evans was booed by Manly fans during warm-ups, team introductions, and throughout the game. Manly's forward pack struggled to create territory, with Jake Trbojevic recording just 8 runs for 70 meters across 3 games. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 3, live blog, reports Manly leading 10-8 at half-time, while Articles 1 and 2 state the final score was 33-16 to the Roosters, no half-time score provided. Article 3 mentions Sam Walker being forced off with a head clash, but Articles 1 and 2 do not mention this incident. Article 3 states the Roosters had 49 tackles in Manly's half, while Articles 1 and 2 do not provide tackle statistics. This story was covered by ABC News. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australia investigates Meta, TikTok, Google for under 16 social media ban violations. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube are under investigation for potential non-compliance with Australia's under 16 social media ban, Articles 1, 2, 3, 5. The eSafety Commissioner is set to release a compliance update on Tuesday, revealing platforms allow repeated age assurance attempts until users pass, Articles 1, 2, 3, 5. Platforms are accused of failing to stop banned users from creating new accounts after deactivation, Articles 1, 2, 3, 5. The social media minimum age laws cover 10 platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Threads, TikTok, Twitch, X, YouTube, Kick, and Reddit, Articles 1, 2, 5. Over 4.7 million accounts were deactivated, removed, or restricted in the first days after the ban took effect on December 10, 2023, Articles 1, 2, 5. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Meta closed 550,000 accounts, while Article 2 does not provide Meta's specific number but reports combined Snapchat and TikTok closures as 665,000, no direct contradiction but inconsistent detail. Article 2 reports 70% of under-16s maintained access on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok, while Article 1 does not provide this specific percentage breakdown. Article 2 claims the government did not provide disaggregated numbers of accounts removed from each platform, but Article 1 lists Meta's 550,000 and Snapchat TikTok's 665,000. Article 1 provides more detail. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, and SBS News. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australian government underwrites fuel imports amid Middle East tensions and shortages. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced new fuel security powers on Saturday, 2024, to underwrite purchase of additional fuel cargoes to stabilise supply during Middle East tensions. The government will amend the Export Finance and Insurance Corporation Act to grant new fuel security powers, with legislation introduced in Parliament on Monday. Shortages have been reported at hundreds of service stations, particularly in New South Wales and Queensland, with panic buying cited as a key factor. The government will use public funds to underwrite the purchase of extra fuel shiploads from the international market, targeting additional and discretionary cargoes. Independent fuel distributors have struggled to secure supply from major companies, affecting regional Australia. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports the government insists shortages are caused by panic buying, while The Guardian does not explicitly state whether panic buying is a primary cause. ABC highlights Albanese's focus on supply stabilisation without ruling out excise cuts, while The Guardian does not mention Albanese's stance on excise reductions. ABC cites Tony Wood's uncertainty about taxpayer costs, but The Guardian does not reference this specific cost implication. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. US directs embassies to counter foreign disinformation using ex and military psychological ops. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The U.S. State Department issued a cable signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio on March 29, 2024, directing all American embassies and consulates worldwide to launch coordinated campaigns against foreign propaganda. The cable endorses Elon Musk's X, Twitter, platform, specifically its Community Notes feature, as an innovative and crowdsourced tool to combat disinformation without compromising free speech or privacy. The directive instructs embassies to work alongside the U.S. military's Psychological Operations Unit, MISO, formerly PSYOP, to counter disinformation. The cable identifies Iran, Russia, and China as state actors conducting sophisticated disinformation campaigns targeting U.S. allies in Europe, Asia, and Latin America. The U.S. is at war with Iran, which has long operated one of the world's most advanced state disinformation apparatuses. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two Guardian articles provided. This story was covered by The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Massive Kit Kat chocolate theft disrupts European Easter supply chains. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A truck carrying 413,793 units of Nestlé's new Kit Kat Formula 1 chocolate range was stolen in transit in Europe on the 26th of March, 2024. The stolen shipment weighed approximately 12 tons and was en route from a factory in central Italy to Poland. Nestlé confirmed the theft to AFP and is investigating with local authorities and supply chain partners. The stolen Kit Kats are part of a new chocolate range designed to resemble Formula 1 race cars. Nestlé warned that stolen bars could enter unofficial markets and can be traced via batch codes on individual bars. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian mentions The Athletic as a source for the F1 chocolate bar detail, but Newscomiu does not reference any secondary source for this information. The Guardian's headline includes new chocolate range while Newscomiu's headline uses crunchy Kit Kat chocolate bars. No other details differ on the product description. No contradictions in core facts, both sources agree on all verifiable details. This story was covered by The Guardian and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australia's 2026 daylight saving transition and its regional impact. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Daylight saving in Australia ends on Sunday, April 5, 2026, first Sunday of April. Clocks in NSW, Victoria, South Australia, Tasmania, ACT, and Norfolk Island move back 1 hour at 3 a.m. to 2 a.m. Queensland, Western Australia, Northern Territory, Christmas Island, and Cocos, Keeling, Islands do not observe daylight saving. Daylight saving begins again on Sunday, October 4, 2026 in participating states. The clock change affects sleep, nighttime economy, and commuting patterns. But not all outlets told the same story. Newscomiu states nighttime spending drops by almost 13% and public transport trips fall by 15%, but ABC does not provide specific economic impact data. Newscomiu cites Queensland and WA rejecting daylight saving via referendums, while ABC does not mention this context. Guardian and ABC do not specify the exact year, 2026, in headlines, though Article 1 and 4 explicitly state 2026 in text. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Donald Trump criticises Australia's lack of support in Iran conflict. Albanese defends Australia's role and push for de-escalation. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump publicly criticized Australia for not providing sufficient support in securing the Strait of Hormuz during the Iran conflict, stating Australia was not great and I was a little surprised by Australia in a White House cabinet meeting, Thij, SMH, ABC. Australia supplied the UAE with advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles, AMRAAMs, at its request, as confirmed by Deputy PM Richard Marles, Thij, SMH. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese stated Australia was not consulted by the US before the military action in Iran and that all US requests had been agreed to. Thij, SMH, ABC. Trump extended Iran's deadline to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to April 6, 2026, pausing energy plant destruction for 10 days, claiming talks are going very well. ABC, Thij. Brent crude oil prices rose nearly 6% to $108 per barrel on the day of Trump's comments. Thij, SMH. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reported Trump's claim that the US has already won the war in Iran, while Thij and SMH did not include this specific assertion. Thij mentioned Trump's criticism of Australia's lack of support for escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz, but ABC and SMH did not explicitly state this as a direct US request to Australia. Thij and SMH reported Trump's mixed messaging about Iran's negotiators, great and strange, but ABC did not include this detail. This story was covered by ABC News, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australia's 6-month ban on Iranian visitor visa holders amid regional conflict. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke announced a 6-month ban on Iranian visitor, subclass 600, visa holders outside Australia from entering, effective from Thursday, date not specified in all sources. The ban applies to approximately 7,000 to 7,200 Iranian nationals who hold valid tourist visas but excludes those already in Australia, in transit, or spouses dependent children of Australian citizens' permanent residents. The government claims the ban is to prevent temporary visa holders from overstaying due to the Iran conflict, citing unable or unlikely ability to return home as a risk. Legislation enabling the ban was rushed through Parliament in March with less than 1 hour of debate, supported by the coalition. Tony Burke stated that visas issued before the conflict may not have been issued if applied for now, emphasizing deliberate government decisions on permanent residency. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and The Guardian report that the ban applies to only subclass 600, tourist, visas, but news.com.au suggests it extends to all temporary visas, e.g., business family visits, based on the explanatory memorandum. The Guardian and ABC highlight that 7,000 to 7,200 Iranian visa holders are directly affected, while news.com.au does not specify this exact number but frames the impact as broader, e.g., thousands. ABC and The Guardian emphasize that the ban was announced after the Iranian women's football team asylum offers, with only 2 players remaining in Australia, but news.com.au does not explicitly tie the timing to this event. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, and SBS News. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. IOC bans transgender women from female Olympic events via new SRY gene testing rules. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The IOC announced new rules banning transgender women and athletes with differences in sex development, DSD, from competing in female Olympic events starting from the 2028 Los Angeles Games. The new policy mandates a one-time SRY gene test, via saliva, cheek swab, or blood, to determine biological sex for female category eligibility at the Olympics. Kirsty Coventry was elected IOC president in March 2024 and reversed the IOC's 2021 framework on fairness, inclusion, and non-discrimination, which previously allowed transgender women to compete if cleared by federations. Laurel Hubbard, New Zealand weightlifter, was the first openly transgender athlete to compete at the Olympics, Tokyo 2021, in a different gender category than assigned at birth. The IOC cites a 10 to 12% male performance advantage in most running swimming events and a greater than 100% advantage in explosive power events, e.g., lifting, punching, for athletes with male puberty, even after hormone treatment. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports the IOC's new SRY gene test is unreliable and reductive according to multiple medical experts, while the IOC and ABC claim it is highly accurate and fixed throughout life. The Guardian states the IOC's policy document does not publicly share the scientific data supporting its claims, but the IOC and ABC present the policy as evidence-based. The Guardian cites Dr. Ada Chung saying transgender women on hormone therapy have a disadvantage in performance metrics, while the IOC's policy document and ABC emphasize their retained advantages from male puberty. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. King Charles III state visit to the US amid Iran war tensions and political backlash. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. King Charles III and Queen Camilla will visit the US as a state visit between April the 27th and 30th, 2025, per both sources. The visit is the first by a British monarch to the US in nearly 20 years, following Queen Elizabeth II's 2007 trip, per both sources. King Charles is expected to address the US Congress during the visit, per both sources. Donald Trump confirmed the visit on Truth Social, stating he greatly respects the king and looks forward to meeting him, per both sources. France, Spain, and Italy have restricted US military airspace or denied landing rights for US warplanes over Iran war operations, per both sources. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states Trump called UK aircraft carriers toys and unwanted last week, but The Guardian does not quote this exact criticism. ABC reports Trump's Truth Social post urging the UK to go and get their own oil from the Strait of Hormuz, while The Guardian only mentions contempt without this specific quote. ABC includes the 250th anniversary of American independence as a key event during the visit, but The Guardian does not mention this detail. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis.